Jai Swaminarayan to all students. As you know, in last lecture we have discussed about the stamen, the microsporogenesis and structure of pollen grain of chapter number 2. Today we will continue this chapter. Today we are going to discuss in this video the formation and the structure of pistil, megasporangium, megasporogenesis and the formation of embryo sac, or we can say gametophyte. As we know, the gynoecium represent the female reproductive part of the flower. If flower contain single pistil, this is called as a monocarpellary. This I will show you in our next slide diagram. If flower contain more than one pistil, this condition is called as a multicarpellary. When there are more than one pistils may be fused together, this condition is called as a syncarpous, or they are free to each other, they are called as a apocarpous. You can see in the diagram, the first one single pistil, second one you can see more than one pistils, okay, then syncarpous ovary also is there, and last one is a apocarpous condition. That is the diagram of multicarpellary and monocarpellary and the condition of syncarpous or apocarpous. Each pistil has three parts: the stigma, style and ovary. Stigma serves as a landing platform for pollen grains. The styles is the elongated slender part beneath the stigma. The basal bulbed part of the pistil is the ovary. Inside the ovary is the ovarian cavity, we can say locule. The placenta is located inside the ovarian cavity. Arising from placenta are the megasporangia, commonly called ovule. It is the diagram of ovule. The ovule is a small structure attached to the placenta by means of a stalk called funicle. Students, here we are going to discuss this structure of ovule from the diagram only. You can see clear in this diagram. This diagram is also given in your textbook. The body of the ovules fuses with funicle in the region called hilum. You can see in the diagram. This hilum represents the junction between ovule and funicle. Each ovule has one or two protective envelopes called integuments. Integuments encircle the nucellus except at the tip where a small opening called the micropyle is organized. Opposite the micropylar end is the chalaza, representing the basal part of the ovule. Enclosed within the integuments is mass of cell called the nucellus. Cells of nucellus have abundant reserve food material. Embryo sac, or we can say female gametophyte, is located in the nucellus. An ovule generally has a single embryo sac formed from megaspore. Now next is a megasporogenesis. The process of formation of megaspores from the megaspore mother cell is called as a megasporogenesis. Ovules generally differentiate a single megaspore mother cell, we can say MMC, in the micropylar region of the nucellus. The MMC, that is megaspore mother cell, undergoes meiotic division. Now mitosis, meiosis, you know very well. Meiosis results in the production of 4 megaspores. Here the 4 megaspore are there. From that only one is functional while three others degenerate. Only the functional megaspores develop into the female gametophyte. This method of embryo sac formation from a single megaspore is termed monosporic development. Here the formation of the embryo sac diagram is there. Again we are going to discuss formation of female gametophyte from this diagram only. The nucleus of the functional megaspore divides mitotically to form two nuclei which move to the opposite poles, forming the two nucleate embryo sac. You can see the first diagram. Two more sequential mitotic nuclear division result in the formation of four nucleate. Again you can see in the second one diagram. And later the 8 nucleate stages of the embryo sac are produced. The third diagram. After the 8 nucleate stage, cell walls are laid down, leading to the organization of the typical female gametophyte, or we can say embryo sac. So 6 of the 8 nuclei are surrounded by cell walls. You can see in the fourth diagram, and organized into cell. The remaining 2 nuclei, called polar nuclei, are situated below the egg apparatus in the large central cell. There is a characteristic distribution of the cells within a embryo sac. From that cell, 3 cells are grouped together at the micropillar end and constitute the egg apparatus. You can see in the last one diagram. The egg apparatus in turn consists of 2 synergids and 1 egg cell. You can see in the last one diagram, that is a C, that 2 are synergid and 1 is a egg cell. The synergids have special cellular thickening at the micropillar tip called filiform apparatus. It has also particular function which play an important role in guiding the pollen tubes into synergids. 3 cells are at chalazal and are called the antipodals. The large central cell, as mentioned earlier, has 2 polar nuclei. Thus, a typical angiosperm embryo sac at maturity through 8 nucleate is 7-celled. Now the question is arise in your mind, how 8 nucleate and is 7-celled gametophyte is there? So it is 3 antipodal cells that you can see in the last one diagram, okay, upper side. 2 synergids, that is micropillar end, again 1 egg cell and 1 central cell. So it is a 7 cells, but in the central cell it is a 1 cell and it has 2 polar nuclei. That's why we can say that they have 7 cells and 8 nucleate. Next one is a pollination. In flowering plants, male and female gametes are produced pollen grain and embryo sac respectively. As both types of gametes are non-motile, they have to be brought together for fertilization. Transfer of pollen grain, that's shed from the anther to the stigma of a pistil, is termed pollination. Now, there are types of pollination, we can say kinds of pollination. Depending on the source of pollen, pollination can be divided into main 3 types, that is autogamy, geitonogamy and xenogamy. First, we are going to discuss about autogamy. In this type, pollination is achieved within the same flower. Transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. Autogamy in such flowers requires synchrony in pollen release and stigma receptivity, and also the anthers and the stigma should lie close to each other so that self pollination can occur. Why? Because we know that ki pollen grain, the time of release of pollen grain and the time of reception of the stigma, if they are different, at that time fertilization is not occur. So in this type of pollination, synchrony is very important. In this type, some plants such as Viola, Oxalis and Camelina produce two types of flowers, that is Chasmogamous and Cleistogamous. In Chasmogamous type of flowers are similar to flowers of other species with exposed anther and stigma. Cleistogamous type of flowers do not open at all. In such flowers, the anthers and stigma lie close to each other. When anthers dies in the flower buds, pollen grains come in contact with the stigma to effect pollination. Thus, Cleistogamous flowers are invariably autogamous, as there is no chance of cross-pollination landing on the stigma. Next one is a Gaetonogamy. Transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of another flower of the same plant. Gaetonogamy is functionally cross-pollination involving a pollinating agent. Genetically, it is very similar to autogamy since the pollen grains come from the same plant. So, students, what is the main difference between autogamy and gametogamy? That in autogamy, pollination occur within a same flower, and in gaetonogamy, pollination occur two different flower but same plant. Okay. Next one is a xenogamy. Transfer of pollen grains from anthers to the stigma of a different plant. In this kind of pollination, plant is different. This is the only type of pollination which during pollination brings genetically different, because the plants are totally different, and this type of pollen grains to the stigma. So student, here we have discussed about pollination and the structure of that pistil, ovule, and we can say female gametophyte, and pollination. So you know that from for the pollination some agents are required. So about pollinating agent we are going to discuss in our next video. Jai Swaminarayan. Thank you.